What? Yeah! Y'all ready to play some football? Just Mickey, check this. Let's go! If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go! If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up.
If you want some, come get some. Cause where I'm from, we so big. And everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it. And I want answers now. Who, what, where, and why? See, a lot of dudes like to act the fool now. Get on live, but that ain't my style. Now who he gon' get and what he gon' do? Run up on me if you want to. Hot damn pressing his homies. He's done up in front of his mama. I'm up the floor with him. And I kick in the door and let the fofo get him. I got fools that'll go get him. That's for him and Boo and them dudes that run with him.
If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up.
Gotta spit it for the murderers and the killers and the thugsters. They be fucking up the ballers and the dealers and the hustlers. Got me coming at you bogus in the VI while they bumping Lil Jon. I'm a Russian. It's a psycho twister from Chicago, rolling with the Miami. Then a crusher. We already be looking for drama. If a try to get into it with us, then we gotta get him. Feeling free from the torture that could never be cured. No penicillin. I'm telling you, trick I'm finna steal 'em. Got me swinging Chrissy and Hennessy bottles in the club, and my thug homies going for your skrilla. Don't get it twisted with that overnight celebrity. You better be scared of me in my city. I'm a killer.
If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go.
I ain't that rapper type of right, and I ain't that actor type of right. Get something in my script, I'm a player. You just a square. See, once that Hennessy enemy, the whole industry is my enemy. And you ain't no kin to me or friend to me. Don't pretend to be. See, I'm strictly for the thugs. I'm for the street and straight out the hood. My MO is ghetto and I don't even need the gat for you bougie cats. I'm straight out the county of dead. 305 MIA. You ever come south for the border? First most born, you're gonna be a slaughter.
If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up.
West Fargo is this tournament's Cinderella. The Packers were mired in a 5-game winless streak just a few weeks ago, but have since won 4 of their last 5, including a double overtime thrilling victory over Fargo North in an elimination game.
Yeah. You know, technically, I'm not even really supposed to be here right now. So, it. Might as well make the most of it. Yeah! Feels good! Woo! Guess I'm lucky. Some of us don't get a second chance. But I ain't blowing this one. Nah, man. Did I feel like I can do anything now? Who can catch lightning in the bottle? Set fire to water coming out the nozzle.
Maybe the biggest surprise of the day, the West Fargo Packers knock off Fargo Davies this afternoon by a final score of 2-1. The Packers scored 2 power play goals and held Davies scoreless to the final 3.5 minutes. The Packers will enter the state tournament with a record of 7-14, but it's going to be enough to move on.
I start the ball, you better flee cause I get ticked. It's a wrap, I was down, knowing there's nothing you can do about it. Zeroing on my target like a marksman. The target is you. I said to me down. You can spot that. What can you do? Look at your crew to hype you up. Stay behind you. That boy's hot enough to melt hell. Burns 8 and 2. Fries and put his asses back together with glue. So you can hate him, he don't blame you. Frankly, he would too. This game could ill afford to lose him. How about you? Now guess who? Here's a clue. He came to the ball and his wife Peter lost his Nike shoe. It's in you, he's in you, he's all up in your psyche too. Now, what's his name? Catch the lightning, he struck it. Screamed, shut up, it thundered and flipped the world upside down and made it rain upward. Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man.
Things get crazy though with 34 seconds to play. Crew Walker gets the lucky bounce up front to make it 5-4 West Fargo. West Fargo making its first state appearance since 2016. They work to keep the Cinderella story going against Century, the top seed from the West.
Maybe the biggest surprise of the day, the West Fargo Packers knock off Fargo Davies by a final score of 2-1. The Packers scored 2 power play goals and held Davies scoreless to the final 3.5 minutes. The Packers win it in tournament time, and that means West Fargo is going to move on to the state tournament for the first time since 2016.
No one was talking about West Fargo making the state hockey tournament. Nobody. It is truly a Cinderella ride that they are on right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, would you bring your attention to me for a feast for your eyes to see, an explosion of catastrophe, like nothing you've ever seen before. Watch closely as I open this door. Your jaws will be on the floor. After this, you'll be begging for more. Welcome to the show.
those games will be happening out in Bismarck, where the Century Patriots, who are the #1 seed out of the West, will welcome in the 4 seed out of the East. Maybe a stunner to some, probably not to our next guest after what the last crazy couple weeks have been. My pleasure to welcome back to our show West Fargo boys hockey head coach, Mr. Troy Miller. It's great to see you, my man. Congratulations. Just how do you even encapsulate what the last 2 weeks have been like?
Well, it's been crazy. You know, we've actually played 3 elimination games, and they're spaced out every 3 days, so it doesn't feel like a normal tournament. You know, you kind of get up, you get through it, then you're happy, and then you realize you got to do it again a couple days later, and you know, maybe that's good. I don't know. I'm getting old, so.
Well, let's go back.
Space it out a little bit.
Let's go back to you had the play-in game with Mayport, and this happened. So for people that don't understand, you had to win that game just to get into the main bracket. So let's go back to that and take us through from there.
Well, we actually had lost to Mayport earlier in the season, so for us, you know, we definitely wanted to come back and play better. We didn't play well the first go around, so there was a little bit of pride on the line in that one. But yeah, that was a week and a half ago Saturday, 10 days ago maybe now.
So you get that one. You end up playing Red River, lost that game 4-1. So now you go into the loser out game, and I'm curious what you had heard about Fargo North, because you're not sure if even North could play. What were you being told about them before that game actually happened?
Well, we knew that we heard early on they were going to cancel against South, but then they were really going to try to play the game against us on Thursday or Red River, depending on the outcome of the Tuesday game.
Right.
You know, I feel terrible for the North kids and Tyler Klein. I think he does an outstanding job, and those kids deserve better. But that being said, you know, it's our job to win that hockey game and move on. So we just prepared to play all 20 kids. It turned out he got his guys back, but obviously they didn't have the practice time or the preparation time they would have liked. So
that game goes double overtime. So, and you've been doing this a while, but get me into the locker room after regulation, knowing you've already survived one elimination game and now you've got another in your hands that's going extra time.
Well, I think as that game played out, we really wore them down, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with their kids being off the ice. I think by the third period, we were controlling play pretty good, but you're still a bounce away from the game ending. And, you know, so we felt good about it, but yet, you know, overtime, anything can happen.
What was the locker room like after that game-winning goal? Can you describe that if you guys beat North?
Well, we're happy to win anytime. We lost so many games early in the year that when we win, it's a good time. So you know, our kids have really come a long way, and I couldn't be happier for them. They've stuck with it. It's easy to fold up your suitcase and go home when you start off 3-12 or 3-13, whatever we were.
So you guys get that, and now you're into a state qualifier game, and it's against Davies. And you know Davies well. Obviously, you played them twice early on in the season. What was the message to the guys before the game on Saturday?
You know, the last time we played Davies pretty tough the first game. The second go around, we really didn't play that poorly, but the score got lopsided. It's probably the only game in the last 10 games that our goaltender hasn't played really well. And, you know, so he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder from his prior performance against Davies. And we just, you know, this time of year, you just have to play, and you can't worry about making mistakes. And the more pressure you put on yourself, the more mistakes you're going to make. So just go out there and have fun. And, you know, we're playing a lot of kids and they're working hard, and we just, you know, kind of a carefree, let's try to move on attitude.
With a team like this, especially when you guys got up 2-0, what are you saying on the bench as the game is going on Saturday?
Well, anytime you're playing with the lead, especially with a young team, that's huge.
Yeah.
But what you're hoping on the bench is that you get to 3, and we had multiple chances to get to 3, but it didn't happen. We were hoping to get to 3 before they got to 1 is what we were really hoping for. But it you know, our kids, the final minute of that game, Braden Jacobson blocked a shot, Caleb Rourke blocked 2, Adam Schmelka blocked a shot, and our goalie made a couple saves to hang on. You know, and that's what it takes to win these games.
You have been to state several times. I've talked to you after some emotional games as well. Was this about as emotional as you can remember after the game on Saturday?
You know, it's really special for our school. The last time we were there was 15, 16. Since then, you know, we split up with the Mustangs, so we really don't have the same situation we had prior, where we had, you know, maybe 45, 50 kids to pick from. Now we get, you know, we can't even fill our roster most years. You know, we're 35 kids probably show up, and we're thankful to have all of them, you know, and we just try to do what we can, you know, with the guys we have. And so that made this really special because it's the first time we've been back to state since the split with the Mustangs.
You mentioned your goaltender and Braden Johnson. I'm going to list off some of his save numbers this year, which you don't need to know. You already know, but I'm just going to repeat it. 42 in one game, 52, 36, 36, 45, 38, 35. I mean, in the last two games, 24 and 25. How can you even estimate how big of a role he's had on your team this year?
You know, he's been huge down the stretch, but our guys are playing well in front of him. You know, early in the season we were trying to go up and down the ice, and I think we exposed them. And you know, a lot of those big shot numbers were first half of the season. Recently, we've done a better job of helping him out, and you know, he's in a good place right now. We like where he's at.
You know as well as I, when you get a hot goalie this time, you can ride it to a heck of a roll. Is that exactly what you feel like you're on right now?
Yeah, I think his confidence has really grown throughout the year, and I think our team plays with confidence in our end. You know, early on when you have 7 sophomores playing, they play like their hair's on fire in the defensive zone, and we just needed to settle in and trust the process and try to you know, help Braden out a little bit. And if we make good choices and smart plays with the puck, we can hang around. And when you have Braden Jacobson on your team,
yeah,
if you're in the game, you got a chance to win because that kid can score anytime he touches the puck.
21 goals for the senior, and I have a chance to watch him play over the last couple of years. You're exactly right. He is just a sniper from anywhere on the ice. I'm curious your thoughts on the format change for this year. I know you're doing whatever you got to do to make it. Does it feel like state today? You're going on the road. It's not like you're going to one location for 3 straight days. Does it feel different today?
You know, it definitely feels different, but I also think it gives you something more to play for. You know, like normally you get to go to the REL for Shields or wherever the tournament is being hosted. Now this is another layer because the lack of a consolation bracket. You know, it's another elimination game. So, you know, we're going to treat this just like the last 3 and try to get to Grand Forks on Friday.
Have you had like the quote unquote the Herb Brooks speech for these guys? Or are you saving that for tonight?
Well, they've probably heard too much of me over the year already. I've probably used up everything I had a month ago.
Is it so basically for tonight? Is it, hey, whatever we've done the last couple, we're just gonna let's go and have fun?
Yeah, no, we're not, you know, we have a lot of respect for Troy Olson and the Bismarck Century Patriots. They're, you know, I think they've won 12 in a row. In a non-COVID year, we would have already played them once because we opened the season with the 2 Bismarck teams. So much respect for that program, but you know, we're going out there to try to win. And if we go out there and play a good game and we come up short, so be it, you know. But if we win, we get an opportunity to do something great on the weekend.
Wait, have you noticed, just looking at the players' eyes or the way they've talked to you, there's a different vibe about them over the last 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, they gain confidence every day. And I think it started, you know, the whole COVID situation was really tough on this team. The governor shutdown added a game, you know, an extra game every week. Instead of playing twice a week, you're playing 3 times a week. We have to play 7 of our kids in the JV game just to get through the night. And it just got to be a grind. So I think, you know, maybe 3 weeks ago, we played Central and Red River pretty close to each other. And, you know, we lost 4-0 to Central and 2-0 to Red River. But when you can play 51 minutes and basically be in the game for most of it with those teams, you know, the confidence just slowly started to grow. And we still would like to put more pucks in the net, you know, but I feel like at least on our end of the ice and in the neutral zone, we're doing a much better job giving ourselves a chance to hang around and see what happens.
Hey, before I let you go, you have been coaching now for 13 years, which is crazy to say out loud. You still enjoying it? How much longer do you want to keep doing it?
Well, I've been saying for about 12 that I'm day to day, so I don't know. And I was with Ross for 7 years prior to that.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, Tim retired. I used to co-coach with Tim Sapu, and he's my best buddy. And he hung her up. A few years before that, we lost Mitch Semenko, so I suppose I'm getting close. But we'll just try to get through this week and see where we're at.
Thanks so much for making time. Congratulations on the last couple of weeks. It's been so much fun, and good luck tonight out in Bismarck.
I really appreciate it, Dom. Thanks for what you do.
Appreciate it. That's Troy Miller, West Fargo boys hockey coach, joining us this morning. The Packers take on Bismarck Century. That's part of the quarterfinal lineup on the boys' side, and we'll see if this it is truly a Cinderella ride that they are on right now. And as he mentioned, 3-13. That's what the Packers were on February 2nd, 3 weeks ago tonight. No one was talking about West Fargo making the state hockey tournament. Nobody. And that's what makes what they've done over the last 3 weeks all that more impressive, including what they've done just in the postseason to win 3 consecutive elimination games. And can they do it again tonight against the number 1 seed out of the West? This little nerd stat here before we break and we wrap the show. Last year, the East went 4 for 4 on the quarterfinals, and they really weren't even that close. We had 4 basically blowouts on quarterfinal night last year. I don't know if I expect that to happen tonight. It's a tall challenge for specifically the teams out of the East that are traveling. For South Shanley and for West Fargo to go to Minot and Bismarck, respectively, and try to win games. Would it blow me away if it happened? No. But especially considering how red hot West Fargo has been, and they'll take on Century. That game at 5 o'clock tonight in Bismarck. You can stream the game at Inforum.com. We'll take our final break. Looks beautiful outside. Just wish it hadn't snowed last night, but you know what? It's the end of February. And it is the end of February, which means it's state hockey in North Dakota. And we had the quarterfinals last night, 4 girls games, 4 boys games. We now know our semifinalists. And for the second year in a row, on the boys' side, it's all EDC matchups after a clean sweep last night. South Shanley went to Minot and won. The 2 Grand Forks teams won on their home rink. And lo and behold, West Fargo kept its magic going. The Packers went to Bismarck Century and knocked off the Patriots 6-4 last night. We welcome back onto the show West Fargo head coach Troy Miller. I'm not sure if are you going to be a recurring guest? Do I have to include your name on the show now? This is 2 times in 2 days.
We're very thankful to have the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, congratulations on the win last night. This is something else. I know for people that follow the sport, they're probably not surprised when you see a team get on a roll like this. But were you even shaking your head on the bench when the final horn sounded last night?
We're just so thrilled for our kids. If we're young, but every day they get better. They stick with it. They do what's asked of them on a daily basis and put the team first. And you can accomplish a lot when you got everyone in the boat rowing the same direction.
You scored right away. 2 minutes into the game last night. How much did that get things going in a positive light?
Well, it's playing downhill is huge. But, we have a very good player on our team. We saw some things on tape that we thought Braden was going to have a nice evening last night, and so right off the bat, we wanted to get him going, but Caleb made a heck of a play early in the game and got that first one, and I think the second time Braden touched the puck, he scored too. So it was just a perfect start first period. Braden
Jacobson, you're talking about with 2 goals, 2 assists last night. You know better than I. You need your best players to play their best in the biggest moments, and he was that again last night for you.
Well, he was hurt throughout the, middle portion of the season, and he's too important for us. He answered the bell and dressed every game, but when he's at 70%, that makes him average. When he's at 100%, he's a generational athlete. He's by the most athletic kid I've ever coached.
So it's 2-1 after 1. They score to tie it up at 2. Give me the feeling on the bench after it's tied up at 2 there. What's going on? What are you hearing on the bench right then?
Well, both of their goals were deflections, and we felt like we were controlling play. I think shots on goal in the first period were 13-6.
Yep.
So we just need to stay the course, and I felt like my defensemen were capable, of breaking the puck out against that forecheck, and they did a very nice job of it. And their defensemen had trouble with our pressure. So it just was a good matchup for the Packers last night.
You guys got another one. Aiden Wolf scored, so it's 3-2 going into the third period. Jacobson scores again, then Bossert scores, so it's 5-2. You got to be thinking, like, I know the 3-goal lead, is that the worst? I know they say 2 is the worst, but 3, is that the worst in hockey? Because then Century netted 2 right after that.
Well, we had a 3-goal lead with a minute and a half to go, and the coach overthought it. Didn't want to get anyone hurt. Didn't want to get anyone DQ'd. So we gave up 2 goals in 24 seconds, and then all of a sudden that went out the window, and we put our top guys back out there, and they scored right away again. So
yeah,
it was interesting, but it was mostly self-inflicted.
Well, it's if anything, it makes you sweat down the stretch. I guess maybe make it worth it a little bit more. 6-4 ends up being the final, and we had video. Troy, we were just playing when you were talking of the guys going over to your goaltender, to Braden Johnson, and the salute after that. What's your reaction on the bench after the horn sounded last night?
Well, I'm just so proud of our guys, and I'm happy for our school. Jay DeCan is a wonderful athletic director to work for. Alyssa Mears helps us every day. Happy for my assistant coaches, because the last time we were there, Tim, Mitch, and I kind of ran the varsity, and Jason and Ryan were JV coaches. Well, the last 2 or 3 years, Jason Triplett, Ryan Griggs, Ryan Evenson, they run practice. I mean, they run 80% of the skill stuff that we do every day. And then Coach Miller comes out and maybe does some power play stuff, and I'm on the ice with them, but I'm watching while they run practice and make our kids better on a daily basis. So I'm just proud for those guys as well, because they maybe don't get recognized like they should.
Now, we were chatting about this before we came on air. Obviously, the weather was a bit dicey. Did that quell the enjoyment of the bus ride back home from Bismarck last night?
Well, 2 things. Number one, we literally were 3 feet from Century's locker room.
Wow.
So we didn't really want to over-celebrate,
Yep.
Because I have a lot of respect for Troy Olsen. Number 2, we got our kids out of there in about 20 minutes and headed for home, because it was a tough trip.
So now here you are. You're still practicing. If you had lost, the pads are going away and it's over, but you're going to have practice tomorrow and Thursday. I mean, obviously you're worried now about Red River, but will you stop back, or did you do this last night? Just sit back and say, this is fun. We're still going.
No, that's where we're at today. And we're going to go to the rink today, and we're going to have an easy practice, and we're going to enjoy last night. Then we're going to get refocused tomorrow and prepare for Red River.
Now, we were just chatting about this yesterday. You played them start of February, not that long ago, about 3 weeks ago, a 2-0 game. How much will you look at that a lot before Friday night's game?
The last 2 games against Red River, they're an incredible team. It's all 3 lines are amazingly similar. They have 3 solid sets of defensemen, and I think their goalie's as good as anyone. But we have 3 to 5 very good scoring chances in both games that we were unable to capitalize on. We just have to get a couple of those to go early and put some pressure on Red River and make them think about it a little bit. But we've had our chances. Now they're going to outshoot us. That's just fact, because they're literally first or second most talented team in the state. That's not debatable. So we have to play right, get a couple breaks, and hope for the best. But our kids will play for 51 minutes.
I have asked you this before, since you've made it to the semifinals, about playing out of the early game, but this is really late, about 9 o'clock, that you're going to have to sit around and wait. What are you going to do all day on Friday?
Well, we're not going to get there overly early. We're going to show up and watch, maybe the first period of the Central Fargo South game, and then get prepared like we do every other day. I think Saturday we'll spend the day there regardless, win or lose, and try to enjoy Saturday. But Friday we got to approach it like a normal game. Our guys are into their routines, and that's the way we'll go about it.
Well, how much, Troy, will you do it over the next couple days? Obviously, the facility you're going to is where every hockey player wants to go. You've been there obviously many times before, but for your team, this is their first trip about, guarding about, the wide-eyed look. How do you do that before the game on Friday?
Well, I think there is some, being in the facility the first time is going to be a really neat experience for them. But I can tell you this, the atmosphere in Bismarck last night was crazy fun.
Yeah.
For this year being the COVID year, it was so refreshing to play in an exciting arena. And I don't know how many people will be at the game on Friday night, but I can tell you it felt like there were 5,000 in Bismarck last night. It was just fun. It was fun, and I was so happy for both teams to be able to experience kind of a fun, crazy atmosphere.
You may be biased on this question, but were you surprised all the East teams won last night?
No, I felt like, obviously the two teams that traveled probably had the best chance to be knocked out, West Fargo and South. But watching tape, I knew Williston was really going to struggle with Red River structurally. And Central's top line is crazy good. So that was going to be difficult for Bodno.
To still be playing, and if I would have told you this, when you're 0-6 in late December, would you believe me?
Semifinals, maybe not, but I told Jay in October that I felt like, in spite of the fact that we graduated a lot of guys, that this team was going to be a tougher out than last year's team because of some of the things we saw when, we had 7 kids play JV as freshmen last year. And the way they play and how they take instruction, we just felt like there was a lot of opportunity for growth. And when you sprinkle those kids in with our Braden Jacobson, Caleb Rourke, Dalton Bossert, we just felt like it was going to be there. But unfortunately, the way things played out, they maybe didn't get the opportunity to develop this season with all the changes that, a normal team would have. Normally, we start with 2 WDA games, and you get an opportunity to build some confidence.
How blow up was your phone last night? Did you hear from a lot of people after the game last night?
It kept me busy on the bus on the way home, so I didn't have to look at the roads. It was wonderful.
I really appreciate.
We're hearing from a lot of former Packers. It's really cool.
I don't doubt that. That was my next question. I would imagine you probably heard from a ton of your former players that have had a chance to play for you, which has got to be pretty cool. I can't guarantee I'll have you on tomorrow. I'll talk to your agent. How about that? We'll see if we can make something work, okay?
Well, anything for WDA. I can't tell you how much we appreciate WDAY covering high school sports. And I mentioned to you off air, I was able to watch the Packers play football this fall when that was a voucher situation. And Jay Gibson's a good friend of mine, and just really appreciate what you guys do for the high school kids.
Well, we're just doing our job here, Coach. I really appreciate the good words. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing you in person on Friday up at the Ralph.
Thank you.
That's Troy Miller, West Fargo boys hockey coach. The Packers keep on playing. A 6-4 win over Bismarck Century last night. They'll get Grand Forks Red River. That's the final game of the 4 on Friday on WDAY. We look forward to that. Should be a great day of hockey coming up, and our state hockey coverage begins in earnest on Friday. We'll be with you from 11 a.m. to probably 11 p.m. It's going to be a long day, but we're looking forward to it coming up on Friday. We'll take a break and put a bow on hour 1 of Hot Mike.